Millionaire demolished an elderly man's house for debts and saw his childhood photo among the ruins. Adam Green had just turned 75 years old in the month of March. It was a milestone that he had reached alone, for he had lived most of his life in solitude. But things changed for him last year when he met a new companion, a loyal German shepherd whom he named Billy. As Adam began to take Billy for walks every evening, he felt a newfound sense of companionship, and his loneliness began to dissipate. For as long as he could remember, Adam had lived in the small town of Eastvale, nestled in the heart of California. But over the past decade, Eastvale had experienced an unexpected transformation. New buildings and businesses sprang up everywhere, and the town he once knew had evolved into a bustling hub of activity. There were restaurants offering a wide variety of food, clubs, markets, and enterprises, all vying for attention in this rapidly changing landscape. Despite all these changes, Adam's home remained the same, a relic of the past standing amidst the modernity that surrounded it. Adam's house may have been old, but it was sturdily built, with a timeless charm that belied its age. It was a modest one-story structure with a spacious lawn out front, where Adam tended to his flower and vegetable garden with care. Every day, he would spend hours plucking weeds and collecting juicy cherry tomatoes and crisp lettuces, taking pride in the bounty that he had nurtured from the earth. As the city of Eastvale grew around him, Adam found himself drawn to the bustle and noise that had once been foreign to him. Though he still lived alone, he felt a sense of belonging to the community that surrounded him, and found comfort in the sounds of life that filled the air. But one day, the tranquility of Adam's life was interrupted by an unexpected visitor. A man in a tuxedo, briefcase in hand, pounded on Adam's front door, disrupting the peaceful routine that he had grown so accustomed to. What this stranger could want from him, Adam wondered, as he nervously made his way to the door. "How may I help you, sir?" Adam asked politely as the man in the tuxedo arrived at his doorstep. "I'm here to make you an offer for your house and land," the man replied in a cool, detached tone, his sunglasses concealing any hint of emotion. Adam felt his blood boil with anger at the nerve of this stranger. Without a second thought, he reached out and grabbed the man by the shoulder, guiding him forcefully away from his home. It was clear that this was no ordinary transaction, and Adam was not about to let this cryptic stranger upend the life that he had built for himself over the years. Ever since he was a young boy, Eddie Davis had dreamt of becoming the wealthiest man in all of Eastvale, and by the time he reached the age of 35, that dream had almost come true. With a vast empire of wealth and luxury at his fingertips, Eddie was a self-made multimillionaire, living the life that he had always imagined. He owned a private jet, 8 luxury cars, and 3 sprawling mansions, each one more lavish than the last. His hotels were in high demand, drawing visitors from all over the world, while his casinos dotted the landscape of the entire country. Even his apartments were the envy of all who saw them, with their impeccable design and luxurious amenities. For Eddie, there was only one goal in life: to amass wealth and live a life of opulence. To him, money held a value beyond measure. He firmly believed and had seen firsthand that money could buy him anything he desired, from lavish mansions to the finest luxuries money could buy. His life revolved around the pursuit of wealth, and he spared no expense in achieving his goals. Eddie Davis' life had not always been one of luxury and opulence. In his early childhood, he loved his parents more than anything else in the world. However, life didn't play fair for Eddie, and his parents struggled with money. His mother, who was suffering from kidney failure, passed away when Eddie was just 7 years old because his father couldn't afford the dialysis treatment she needed. As a child, Eddie never had the luxury of wearing new clothes. His neighbor would often give him used and worn-out clothes and shoes. At the age of 8, Eddie's father gave him away to his uncle, who didn't treat him any better. Eddie was made to work as a servant, doing dishes and scrubbing floors, and was beaten for minor mistakes. Eventually, his uncle sent him to work at his 5-star hotel, where Eddie started as a sweeper. Despite the harsh treatment he endured, Eddie refused to let his circumstances define him. He worked hard and learned everything he could about the hotel industry. Slowly but surely, he climbed the ranks until he became the manager of the hotel. With the knowledge he gained, Eddie began to dream of a life where he could have everything he ever wanted: and he knew that the key to that life was money. From that day on, he was determined to become the wealthiest man in Eastvale, and he never looked back. Eddie's dream of building a luxurious mall in Eastvale had hit a major roadblock. Despite scouring the city for the perfect location, he had come up empty-handed time and time again. That is, until fate intervened one day as he strolled through the bustling market on his way to his hostel. As he walked past an old, decrepit house, Eddie's eyes widened with realization. This was the perfect spot for his grand project. He could see it now, the sleek, modern design of his luxury mall, rising up from the ashes of the old building. As soon as he stumbled upon the location, Eddie wasted no time in dialing up his manager. "Daniel, there's an old house next to the city hospital alongside the road. Get to the bottom of who resides there and make arrangements to acquire both the property and land," Eddie instructed his subordinate. "Understood, sir," Daniel promptly responded, carrying out the command by setting out to locate the house that very day. When Daniel attempted to purchase the house, the old man residing there was deeply offended and promptly showed him the door. However, Eddie was not one to give up easily. His tenacity knew no bounds, and he was willing to go to great lengths to acquire whatever he desired. Upon learning that the property belonged to an elderly man named Adam Green who lived with his dog, Eddie was undeterred by the information. He was determined to obtain the house, no matter the cost. Eddie dispatched his men to the property nearly every day, offering millions of dollars, but the stubborn old man refused to budge an inch. After exhausting all other options, Eddie sought the assistance of his trusted lawyer, Jacob. He informed Jacob of the situation with the house and provided him with ample funds to secure the property. The following morning, Jacob arrived at Adam's home. The elderly man was engrossed in his daily newspaper, completely unaware of Jacob's presence until an unfamiliar voice startled him from behind. Greeting the elderly man with a flat tone, Jacob spoke up, "Good day, Mr. Adam Green." Without bothering to look up from his newspaper, Adam promptly dismissed Jacob. "The house is not for sale. Get out." Refusing to be deterred, Jacob pulled up a chair and positioned it in front of Adam, determined to make his case. "I understand the sentimental value this house holds for you, with all the memories you must have made here. However, please hear me out. We have a lot to offer," Jacob argued, his tone becoming increasingly persuasive. Jacob attempted to reason with Adam. "A wealthy man is interested in purchasing your home, and you should be grateful rather than stubborn. In exchange, he could provide you with a free apartment or a generous sum of money. Besides, this property is on the brink of being sold, so why refuse this offer?" Realizing that his efforts were falling on deaf ears, Jacob then issued a warning. "However, if you reject this proposal, we will have no choice but to pursue legal action. There is no evidence to support your claim of ownership over this property." As Jacob finished his speech, Adam set aside his newspaper, his eyes glistening with unshed tears, his expression filled with sorrow. Dejectedly, Adam posed a question. "Why do you want my home?" Jacob responded with a stern tone. "We want to purchase your property before the government seizes it. And let me tell you, old man, they won't even offer you a penny. You must decide whether you want to take the money and leave or depart empty-handed." Realizing he had no further recourse, Adam conceded defeat and requested the necessary paperwork. After the money was transferred to his account, Adam gathered his belongings, took Billy, and handed the keys to Jacob. In triumphant spirits, Jacob made the call to Eddie, relaying the news that the deal had been finalized and the property was now in his possession. A week later, a flurry of bulldozers and other heavy machinery descended upon the site, tearing apart the old house and garden in a cacophony of noise and chaos. With the land cleared, the contractors for the upcoming mall eagerly began preparations to start construction, assuring Eddie that work would commence the following week. Fueled by anticipation and excitement, Eddie himself made his way to the site to witness the transformation of his new acquisition firsthand. Eddie walked towards the site of his newly purchased land, his heart racing at the thought of building his mega mall there. Yet, just as he was about to turn away, a weird intuition compelled him to continue exploring. He came across a collection of ancient toys whose surfaces were covered in layers of dust and cobwebs as he continued exploring the ruins of the old house. Without thinking, Eddie bent down and picked up one of the misplaced stuffed toy, giving it a quick look before tossing it away carelessly. But as he grabbed for another, something flat and smooth came into contact with his hand. It was a picture that he discovered. To obtain a clear view of it, he lifted it up and dusted it. He stared at the picture, and for a split second, his heart stopped beating. The blood in his veins froze. He wanted to cry as his eyes began to well up with tears. The image was well known. Click on this video to see more touching stories.